Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different. We're not just dissecting a topic. We're actually reliving a first-hand adventure. We're plunging into the fascinating, sometimes, well, often chaotic world of DeFi yield farming.
Right.
And we're doing it through the eyes of someone who, pretty bravely, immersed themselves for a full 24 hours.
Just dove right in.
Exactly. Imagine this. You start with just a browser open, a crypto wallet, maybe a few $100s in stablecoins, and absolutely no solid plan.
Sounds like a recipe for, well, something interesting.
Definitely interesting. Our source takes us on this wild ride, from what they call the vanilla ice cream of safe investments, jumping between different protocols like a caffeinated squirrel, facing these gas fee punches that, really hurt.
Yeah, those sting.
Discovering slow cookers for crypto, which we'll get into, and even getting caught in some serious rug vibes.
Classic DeFi experience, unfortunately.
We're going to unpack this whole whirlwind experience for you. We'll focus on the lessons learned, the unexpected turns, and maybe some surprising facts that really shine a light on what this space is truly like.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how quickly that initial, maybe just mild curiosity, it just transforms. It becomes this high-stakes, real-time learning curve.
Totally.
This deep dive, it's going to really illustrate that what often gets pitched as, passive income in DeFi yield farming, well, it's actually more like a full contact sport.
That's a great way to put it.
So our mission today is really to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge from this pretty intensive 24-hour journey. We want to help you understand not just what happened, but why it actually matters in the bigger picture of decentralized finance.
Okay, so let's jump in. Our adventurer kicked off this 24-hour marathon with basically a clean slate. Open browser, fresh crypto wallet, a few $100 in stablecoins.
Right, and stablecoins, just for clarity, they're those cryptos pegged, usually 1-to-1 with something like the US dollar, kind of the gateway drug into DeFi for many.
Exactly. So, hour one, they dipped their toes in, chose what they called the vanilla ice cream of DeFi. A classic starting point.
Yeah. They supplied some USDC, that's a big stablecoin, to Av, basically lending it out to earn, a pretty modest but steady interest. Felt easy, felt safe.
Almost boring, maybe?
Utterly mundane, yeah. Especially compared to the crazy stories you hear.
But that boring part, it's actually incredibly insightful. It really highlights this fundamental tension you see everywhere in DeFi.
Okay.
You've got this baseline of relatively low-risk, low-reward stuff like lending on an AV, and then you have the allure, the pull of much higher yields that drags people into, let's say, more speculative areas.
Right.
AV itself, it's basically a decentralized lending and borrowing platform. You provide liquidity, someone else borrows it, you earn interest. Foundational stuff. But yeah, for someone seeking adventure.
It loses its appeal pretty fast.
Exactly. And that thirst for something more, for a real adventure, it definitely set in quickly. By hour 3, that initial calm, gone. Our adventurer was now actively hunting for yield, and that's when they stumbled upon a newly launched farm on Arbitrum.
Arbitrum, layer 2.
Yep. The UI looked slick. The promises were, intoxicating, flashing over 300% APY.
Wow. Okay. Red flag territory, potentially.
Totally. They described this moment of internal debate like, this feels too good to be true, but what if it's not? So they decided to bridge some ETH over from the main Ethereum network.
Okay, and this is where the learning curve just goes steep. Bridging.
Yeah, explain that a bit.
So bridging, for anyone listening, it's this quite complex process of moving your assets between separate blockchains, like from Ethereum mainnet to a layer 2 like Arbitrum.
Right. Cheaper fees usually on Arbitrum.
Usually, yeah. It opens up new opportunities, lower fees, but it also adds this whole other layer of smart contract risk. You're basically trusting your assets to this bridge protocol.
Which could have its own problems.
Exactly. Its own vulnerabilities. So once they were on Arbitrum, our adventurer added liquidity to a pair they'd, never heard of. Something called Bananacoin and Moon Token.
Bananacoin and Moon Token. Sounds legit.
Right. And then they staked those new liquidity tokens they got.
Staking here means they locked up those tokens.
Yeah, locked them into a smart contract to earn extra rewards, often rewards from the platform itself, on top of any trading fees they might earn.
And they reported seeing, yield accrue like within minutes.
Yeah.
Felt like an absolute wizard.
Ah, the wizard feeling. It's incredibly powerful in DeFi, that immediate feedback, seeing the numbers go up.
Yeah.
It creates this strong, like, psychological pull. It pushes people deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole.
Definitely.
But adding liquidity, especially to really obscure token pairs like Bananacoin and Moon Token, that carries significant risk. You're exposed to something called impermanent loss.
Right. Explain that one too.
So impermanent loss happens when the value of the two tokens you deposited diverge. If Bananacoin shoots up but Moon Token crashes, for example, you might actually end up with less total dollar value than if you just held the two tokens separately in your wallet.
Ouch. Okay. So, wizard feeling, but with hidden dangers.
Precisely.
And deeper they absolutely went. By hour 6, they were fully immersed, jumping between protocols like, quote, a caffeinated squirrel,
I can picture that.
farming, staking, unstaking, swapping, across 6 different chains, 23 browser tabs open. They started calling it yield surfing.
Okay, wow.
Just this nonstop high-octane dance across the DeFi landscape.
What's immediately clear there is the rapid escalation, both in like operational complexity and just the sheer cognitive load.
Yeah, exhausting just hearing about it.
Right. This isn't just setting up an investment and forgetting about it. The constant need to monitor everything, move assets around, worry about gas fees, chase the next hot opportunity.
Yeah.
It really shows that what's often marketed as passive income
Is anything but passive.
Exactly. In active yield farming, it frequently requires a huge amount of active management, research, attention. It's a full-time job for some people.
And all that constant activity, as you might guess, came with a real financial cost. By hour 9, reality delivered a pretty hard blow. Our adventurer got, in their words, smacked in the face by Ethereum gas fees.
The bane of many DeFi users.
A single failed transaction probably set the gas limit too low, or maybe the network got jammed, suddenly cost them a whopping $42.
Oof, $42 just gone for nothing.
Yeah, they described really questioning if they were actually earning anything or just paying these hefty fees to sort of pretend they were yield farming.
And that $42 failed transaction, it really highlights a critical challenge, especially for people coming in with smaller amounts of capital.
How so?
It's the fixed cost nature of these network transactions. You know, in traditional finance, fees are often a percentage. Here, a $42 fee might be nothing to a big whale moving millions, but for someone starting with a few $100s...
That's a massive chunk, crippling.
Exactly, and this often pushes smaller players towards those layer 2 solutions we mentioned, like Arbitrum or Optimism, where fees are way lower, or into using things like auto-compounding vaults that batch transactions together.
To save on gas.
Right, they effectively spread the cost by consolidating activity for lots of users. But yeah, it's a painful but really crucial lesson in managing your operational expenses in this space.
So after that gut punch with the gas fees, at hour 12, the mood shifted quite a bit. They discovered something they called beautiful auto-compounding vaults on platforms like Beefy Finance or Yearn Finance.
Ah, yes, the compounders.
These vaults, they automatically reinvest your yield, so no more farming fatigue from constantly having to manually claim rewards and then restake them. It felt like discovering the slow cooker of DeFi. You know, set it up, promises consistent growth without you having to constantly mess with it.
And this really illustrates the innovation happening within DeFi itself. People trying to solve the very full contact problem our adventurer was running into.
Makes sense.
These auto-compounding vaults, they're basically smart contracts. They pool users' funds together and then automatically claim and reinvest the rewards much more efficiently than an individual usually could.
Saves time and gas money.
Both. It often makes the whole process way more gas efficient by batching those transactions. So it offers this glimpse of potentially truly passive growth, you know, leveraging compound interest. But
There's a but.
There's always a but. It's still operating within a very volatile and sometimes still very risky ecosystem.
Right. And that newfound confidence from the auto-compounders. Well, it maybe led to another massive misstep around hour 15.
Uh-oh. Here we go again.
Yep. They found a farm offering an absolutely insane 4,000% APY.
4,000%. Okay, sirens should be blaring.
You'd think. On a brand new meme token called Lettuce.
Lettuce coin. Oh, dear.
They admitted later they just ignored every single red flag. They YOLO'd and, you know, means you only live once. Basically diving in without thinking.
Zero research, maximum hope.
Pretty much. And predictably, within an hour, the price of Lettuce coin dropped 60%.
Ouch. 60% gone.
Yeah, they called it classic rub vibes and pulled out whatever was left with their tail between their legs.
That is just a classic painful example of chasing completely unsustainable yields.
Seems obvious in hindsight.
Well, yeah. Extremely high APYs like that, especially on brand new, unaudited projects or meme tokens with no real use case, it's almost always a signal of extremely high risk.
So what exactly is a rug pull?
A rug pull is basically a scam. The developers or founders of a project create a token, get people to buy it or provide liquidity, often pumping the price, and then they just drain all the valuable assets like the ETH or stablecoins from the trading pool.
Leaving investors holding worthless tokens.
Exactly. Worthless tokens they can't even sell because the liquidity is gone. So that rapid 60% drop our adventurer saw, it could have been a rug pull starting, or maybe just the extreme volatility you get when there's no real substance and liquidity just vanishes instantly. Prime example of the counterparty risk you face in DeFi's Wild West.
Wow. Okay, so after that incredibly humbling experience with Lettuce Coin, by hour 20, our adventurer was, as you can imagine, utterly exhausted.
I bet.
They decided to settle into safer grounds, reallocated most of their remaining funds into what are known as blue chip farms.
Smart move. Finally.
Yeah, realizing that while chasing those crazy APYs is kind of thrilling, maybe stability has its own reward.
Yeah.
Sounds like they finally learned to value a good night's sleep over the fleeting promise of a 4,000% APY on something called Lettuce.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture again, that shift, it signifies a really crucial maturation, an evolution in their understanding of DeFi.
How so?
Blue chip farms, generally they refer to protocols that are well established. They've been audited, they're battle tested, they have significant liquidity locked up, and a proven track record over time.
So the grown-up investments in DeFi.
Kind of, yeah. This move represents a pivot away from pure wild speculation towards focusing more on capital preservation and achieving sustainable returns. It's actually a really common journey for people who stick around in DeFi long enough. You learn the hard way.
Usually the expensive way.
Often the expensive way, yeah. That not all yield is created equal. And that long-term survival often means prioritizing security and stability over that temptation of astronomical, but usually very short-lived gains.
Wow. Okay. What an absolutely packed 24 hours. Just recounting it is tiring.
Right.
From that initial cautious optimism lending on a Fae to the excitement, the wizard feeling staking Bananacoin and Moon Token on Arbitrum. Then the sting of that $42 failed transaction on Ethereum, the relief of discovering those auto-compounding vaults, the slow cookers, and finally the painful lesson of YOLOing into that 4,000% APY Lettuce token that just panks 60% in an hour.
It covers so much ground.
It's abundantly clear, isn't it? DeFi yield farming isn't for the faint of heart. It is definitely not passive. As our adventurer discovered, it really is a full contact sport. You learn incredibly quickly, often through some pretty expensive mistakes.
And this whole experience, it really does crystallize some critical insights for anyone even looking at this space.
Like what?
Well, we saw the paramount importance of sustainability. You know, looking beyond just the highest APY number flashing on the screen.
Right.
We saw the complexities and the potential risks involved in just moving assets around using bridges between different chains.
Yeah, that's not trivial.
Not at all. And the humbling reality that even these cutting-edge smart contracts, as cool as the technology is, they can glitch, they can fail, they can be exploited, and that leads to real financial loss.
It's true.
So if we connect all that to the bigger picture, this 24-hour adventure, it just vividly illustrates that DeFi, while it has huge potential, maybe revolutionary, maybe fruitful, it truly is a digital jungle.
A jungle, yeah.
It requires not just capital to get started, but immense knowledge, constant vigilance, and really strategic navigation if you want to actually succeed or even just survive.
So how did our venturer feel at the end of it all? Well, they ended their marathon feeling apparently exhilarated, definitely overwhelmed, slightly poorer in their crypto wallet.
Understandable.
But crucially richer in wisdom, stating that, quote, knowledge is the highest yield of all.
That's a great takeaway. Poetic, even.
It is. So what does this all mean for you listening? If given the chance and armed with all the wisdom gained from this pretty intense 24-hour crash course, our source mused, would I do it again?
The million-dollar question.
Right. Their answer, maybe with a better plan and more sleep.
Sounds about right.
Which raises, I think, an important question for you, our listener. Armed with the insights we've uncovered today from this deep dive, how would you approach this digital jungle differently? Something to think about.